Hello there, Bick Benedict here. We're playing God of War 2018 on Give Me God of War difficulty. It's the hardest difficulty available. So after you leave Brock's shop, if you come down here and pick up this artifact, the game is going to checkpoint it right there. It can save you several moments of running to that area if you want to. You don't have to open the door every time. So since we last saw each other, we had docked the ship at this new area. And once you go up the stairs from the point that I ended the video last time in part 3, the game is going to, as it usually does in a lot of places, it's going to take control away from you, and it's going to give you a cinematic that you can't skip. So the last thing that we were going to do was we were just heading up the stairs to this new area. So from there, it's going to put you into Brock's shop, and you can make upgrades. So I've crafted a suit for Atreus to decrease the cooldown time so that he can fire arrows with a higher firing rate and less cooldown. So if you are interested in that, you can. That is one of the primary things that you want to focus on for upgrades. You always want to make sure that in upgrading for yourself, you're always try not to be, and I know it can be hard because some of us long-standing God of War fans, we kind of resent the fact that we have somebody to travel with, so we can find ourselves neglecting the companion. Sometimes I do, just unconsciously, because I think to myself, well, you know, whatever needs to be done in this game, I can do it myself. You know, I shouldn't have to rely on some AI to help me. But he does through the upgrades and the things you give him, and the suits you give him, the statistics you spec into him, and the upgrades that you buy for his weapon. It's going to really come in handy, and it's not just a subtle thing. You're going to notice that he is going to be extremely helpful to you. So if you can at all help it, try not to neglect the character Atreus, because he can actually add a great amount of help to the fights. Anyway, we've come over to here, and we're taking care of a final reaver. Watch out, they do a death explosion of poison. So just watch out for that. Like I said, there's a chest over here to pick up, and then there's an optional area over here if you would like to pick up an apple. We're going to get one out of the legendary chest over here. So it isn't very difficult, and since it's right next to where we need to go, I'm going to head over here and show you the location of it. It isn't a hard fight once you get over here. It's just, I think it's just, well, I know it's nightmares, but I think it's about 3 of them. So anyway, they spawn when you jump down here. I'm gonna, I was gonna say jump back up here, but you can't jump in this game, can you? Can you? No, I didn't mean it. I don't mean it. I'm probably gonna say that every game. You can't, every video, you can't fucking jump in the game. Shit, I'm getting hit with shit here. Fuck. And the longer I, mess up over here, the more these guys are going to upgrade, aren't they? So what I would recommend is parrying the projectiles back at the nightmares and throwing the axe using the triangle button. There are different throws. There's a square throw and a triangle throw. The triangle throw is the heavier throw. It's the throw that the square throw is the one that trips enemies up. The triangle one is the beefier of the throws. So anyway, once you take care of those enemies, you can interact with the hack silver pot there and get yourself in some money. And we can actually solve this puzzle. So the puzzles for these chests, to open them, you're either going to be hitting them and ringing the bell of them, or you're going to be smashing three of the vases. So that's how to do that. It's very simple. You just need to ring the bells in the order that you see it on the chest, and we're going to get an apple. So I believe we've already upgraded the health last time, so this should be the start of a new set. So we now are at 1 of 3 for the apples. And small little things like that, I would recommend you do. I mean, it's hard to say it's even off the beaten path. It's right next to the door, so I would do it if I were you. And you can explore the sea on the ship if you want to. You can do anything you like, and then you can come back here at your own leisure. And you're always rewarded for exploration. So, at any rate. So now we're going to be doing this fight over here. This fight really isn't too hard. It's just normal poison reavers that explode. A tassel worm that I think he leaves at some point and he doesn't come back. I'm not sure what ends up happening to him, but in the first, or I think maybe the second video, I mentioned to you guys that I was going to be telling you, like, literally move for move everything that I'm getting. Since I won't be including the shopping menus or any of my personal menus too often, I might do it sometimes, but I did want to say that I have got all of the level 1 through 2 axe moves, with the exception of these moves over here. I don't have the Grinding Storm, which is the square hold. I don't have the Frost Rush, which is square while sprinting. And I do not have the Whirling Storm, which is a forward on the left analog stick plus square while evading. And those 3 purchases, I can afford those, but I'm wary of buying them. So these Scorn Poles, all you have to do is just throw the axe in it, freeze it. Just remember that when you're fighting, you can't use the axe, because then the poison will come back to haunt you. Sometimes you do it on accident, but anyway. So as far as level 1 through 2 moves, I have everything purchased save for those 3 moves. If I do decide to pick up any of those, I will let you know. I have got all of the shield combat moves and all of the rage combat moves. And I have got all of the Talon Bow's expert combat moves. So, how did I afford all of the shield combat moves and the rage combat moves? Well, this game, when I was getting all of those parries, the game is a little bit broken, actually. It should not keep giving you 3,500 experience for getting the medal, because what it does is it only gives you the medal if you succeed the battle. So if you lose, and even if you still get all of your parries or your trips, I was doing the parries, it still keeps giving you the 3,500 experience points. So you could really take advantage of that if you wanted to. Like, you could get to a fight with 98 out of 100 riposts, and then when you get to a fight, it would only take you 2 parries to get 3,500 each time, because it keeps saving it every time. So I never planned for it. They kept giving it to me, so I took it. This fight is garbage. Anyway, first guy I take care of with 2 throws of the axe, and then I do a 180 and I focus on this guy back here. I love that move. Okay, and then what happens is you've got a couple of tassel worms in addition to these poison reavers over here. So this fight can get out of control really easily, but you do want to find somewhere that's safe for you to take shelter for. And I do need to mention as well that when you do that heavy runic attack that I just did, you don't get iframes when you're doing it. So you don't get interrupted, but you can find yourself getting hit, and you will find yourself getting hit. You have protection with certain moves, and you have no protection with others. It will tell you in the move what you're getting, and as much as I really like that heavy runic attack, the name is escaping me right now, but on these tassel worms over here, it looks like we've got level 3 beasts. They burrow themselves underground, and then you'll see them coming up to you. Just as they're jumping out of the ground to attack you is when you want to parry, and then you can work on them that way. So The problem though is that you've got these reavers with the poison attributes throwing their gunk at you. You've also got reavers perched on cliffs. So I had not that many troubles on this fight, only because several weeks ago when I was doing this fight on Give Me God of War was really enraging me. So I also wanted to mention that the permafrost move is really good. It adds even more frost damage to your attacks if you consecutively hit enemies without taking damage yourself. We can get the accompanying permafrost move, but we have to get another frozen flame first, because the second permafrost upgrade is locked in a level 3 upgrade. So that's basically how you deal with the Tetzel worms. Any ground-based attack that disrupts the earth with your attack will pop them out of the ground. But I've got to tell you, with as great as it is to play this game over 40 frames per second, it does come with a downside to it, as far as the I don't know if frame pacing is the right word, but yet I kind of do think that's the right word. It's not a steady frame rate, so that if you don't mind fluctuations constantly, while still preserving a high frame rate, that this is for you. But if you would prefer a steady frame rate that's a lower frame rate, then you want to favor the resolution, or just play the PlayStation 4 version, because it doesn't have performance upgrades, I don't believe. So it begs the question, what is more ideal, a steady lower frame rate or a higher unsteady frame rate? I always prefer just the higher frame rate, even if it's unsteady. I don't know. That's just me. So now what we're going to do is hit that scorn pole, which will cause the poison to go away over here, so that we can open this chest. So definitely, I did want to mention, and I think I've already mentioned this, strength and runic are the best attributes to get. Very best. The runic is even better than the strength, because I've never been satisfied with my hit damage on this, and I think with more repeated playthroughs I might be able to find out a way to hit harder, but I've always found that the runic attacks are incredibly damaging. Now, this over here, I think we're going to get another apple. This puzzle over here, this is the second time I've done it, and I always do it by accident. So I can't explain how this puzzle works over here. I despise puzzles. I wish I knew how it worked, but I just don't know how it works. I got it by accident twice. I hate puzzles. You know me. I fucking hate them. Really hate them. So if you can't figure it out, I would try to find a puzzle walkthrough with a commentary on it. Brian over at PS4 Trophies has got some good videos. This actually, I'm not sure what this is. It's a horn of mead or an apple. I think it's an apple though, isn't it? Nope. It is a horn of mead. We're gonna wind our horns. Alright, now we've got another scorn pole to hit, and then we've got a revenant coming up too. Now, revenants are very easy to deal with by doing that square hold trick, but I still just don't like the revenants. Really don't like them. What do we have? There's some common waste armor. Oh, and the shield too. The shield is important in this game, because you do riposte with the shield, so you don't have to have your axe equipped. And I pre-ordered this game, and you might be able to tell it's the Donkin shield, I think it's called. It's a black shield. I I'm not really sure if there is anything in the PlayStation Store that you can buy. I do know that I got I got the Donkin Shield or the Donker Shield by pre-ordering the game, but I would lay down really good money to buy a bunch of cosmetic things and some good stuff because I hardly ever lay down money on anything as far as video games are concerned because with very rare exceptions, you know what I'm going to say, games aren't being made anymore. Okay, now over here you've got a really bad checkpoint. If you die to this Revenant, they're going to put you way down there right in front of Sidri's shit shop. So what I would recommend, if you want a better checkpoint, is to do exactly what I'm going to show you over here. So freeze this Scorn Pole, proceed, wait until the poison goes away, run up here, hit this Scorn Pole, and then ignore. This is where you fight the Revenant, and then you want to come all the way over here and pick up this item over here, and this will give you a checkpoint right here. That gives you a checkpoint. So every time you die, now it's going to start you up here. So it's a horrible checkpoint otherwise, but that's a good way to get it. And just remember, you're going to need to have the aid of Atreus to shoot the Revenant so that you can go into this method here of looping. Of looping the enemy. We've got a really fun fight coming up with an ogre. It's one of my favorite battles in the game because it's just a plain old-fashioned good battle, and I like those. You also may have noticed that I've got the Talisman of Vitality equipped. It gives you a little burst of health for yourself, and if you're running low on health. I also think that this game has yet again failed to reward players for getting health when they're already filled up with health. So it's just a little shameful. I think that if you're filled with health and you hit a health stump, it should give you rage, and if you're full of rage, and you know, vice versa. And if you're, oh, that was an accident. But yeah, if you're full of both, you should get some currency or something. There should be some sort of a reward scheme for people that, are doing well for themselves. Okay. Anyway, when you come up here, there's going to be some poison beasts as well as one of the Reavers. There are exploding pots over here, but I would recommend that you save those for the next section of the battle over here. You notice that I have poison. On this difficulty, the elemental damage that you receive is much higher and it lasts much longer than the previous difficulties. So if you can help it at all, just do not smash the exploding pots. And here I am just standing in a pool of poison and unaware of it, but it doesn't really matter because there are many health stumps over here. Our talisman has rejuvenated itself, and we can take a heal over here. I don't know I think it's 85 seconds. We're also going to get a rage talisman too, so that we can get a burst of rage going for our selfins. So anyway, when you approach the door, you're going to get assaulted by the ogre. Alright, this is the first ogre battle in the game. So after you approach the door, you're going to get a cutscene, and then the ogre is going to give you a second part of this fight over here. He gets a second wind. So what I do is I activate rage and throw my 2 boulders at him, and then I try to make my way through the mob of the poison reavers. And I try to look for opportunities where I can use my axe and throw that, and hopefully deal some good burn damage like we just did to many poisoned reaver. And just remember that when they take fatal damage, they do that poison explosion, which can end in your demise if you're low on HP. So things are actually looking pretty good with this fight over here. I don't yet have the upgrade where after dealing an enemy a hit in his weak point, like his head or in any other weak point, you press R1 and then recall the axe during the flash, and then when you throw it again, it does a throw that does an explosion of frost. So I don't have that yet. I think it's an interesting move, but oh, that's a good lad, Atreus. Atreus finished him off. So that means we just need to mount him, and then you're going to have more of the poison river spawning in here. And for some reason, sometimes when I'm on these guys and mounting them, and I end up not killing them, and instead I get pushed off. See? Happens a lot. I'm not really used to that sort of thing in God of War, so it does definitely rub me the wrong way, because it feels like I should have been doing something different. And I think what it was perhaps I was just not mashing the buttons properly or fast enough. I really don't know, honestly. This chest over here that we're gonna get, I don't think it has anything too good in it. The chest in the poison over there, that's going to give us a light runic attack. It's called the Charge of the White Bear. I think we have enough XP to upgrade it all the way. It's a really good one too, because it provides you complete iframe immunity during the attack, unlike the heavy runic attack that we have equipped right now. Anyway, that's the end of the video after this, guys. Once we go in through the door, we're gonna meet up with the witch, and it does like a 10-minute cutscene, and there's no hope of you getting lost. So I thought about maybe just fast forwarding it, but it's all it's just on it's like you're just walking on a conveyor belt, just doing the motions. So it's there's no chance you'll get lost or you won't know what to do. But I decided to end the video right here once we get to the mountain pass, or mountain's base, I should say. And the beginning of the fifth part will be our arrival at Alfheim, and then we'll be dealing with the Dark Elves. So they're tricky enemies, but I'll show you how to work through them and overcome them. But I do apologize for the transition between that mountain's base and all of the it's essentially just a skip cinematic, so I wish you could skip it, but alas. But anyway, I will see you in part 5. Just go through the motions, and I will meet you right over in part 5. Thank you very much for watching my walkthrough. I'm hoping that it's helping you out. If I can do anything differently to make your experience more enjoyable, for instance, if you would like to, if you would like the vulgarity to lessen, I can accommodate that. There's nothing more off-putting than someone who swears constantly, but we'll have to adjust things as it comes and suit our needs for anything that arrives. So I will see you in part 5. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. Please take care.